A classically feminine woman is rare in today's world. She's timeless and her ideals don't shift with trends. Whether she lived in the 1950s or 2020s, she would still embody grace, substance, and depth. At her core, she is rooted in true, strong character. She's not defined by fleeting aesthetics, but by essence, true essence that comes from serving a higher purpose. This blend with depth and softness and this warm energy is what makes her presence so unforgettable and irresistible. Think of women like Audrey Hepburn, who embodied such elegance, or Grace Kelly with this air of mystery and composure, or even women like Princess Diana. We still talk about all these women. Decades later, they're gone, even in their absence. Contrary to today's society that worships appearances and trends, these women are rooted in something so much deeper. So today, ladies, I'll be sharing with you 5 habits that every classically feminine woman follows, habits that bring elegance and depth into daily life. Hello, my beautiful Mademoiselle. Welcome back to Mademoiselle Diaries, or if you're new here, welcome to Mademoiselle Diaries. I'm Aurelia, the founder of Mademoiselle Diaries, and I'm on a mission to help you become the most beautiful, elegant, and feminine self. Let's get straight into the habits that a woman of substance follows. Number 1, she has grounding daily rituals. I talk extensively about rituals in this channel, but I really believe that especially today in 2025, in the 21st century, we need rituals to ground us in our femininity, because the world is moving so fast, and you really need to schedule this time, this ritual, for you to ground yourself. A classically feminine woman is grounded, and she's not pushed where the wind blows. She is grounded in her essence. And to ground yourself, you need a ritual. For myself, I've stuck to the same ritual for the last 7 years. Is to wake up, make myself some black coffee, and then I get into reading a classic, or I read scripture and I pray at the same time as well. And it is a ritual that truly grounds me and nurtures me spiritually, and it helps me set the tone for my day. And I highly recommend actually looking more into how you can ground yourself early in the morning, before you check your social media, before you even get into work, to really remind yourself of your mission and who you're serving today. I think this is a crucial time, even 30 minutes. Wake up earlier so that you actually get to engage in a ritual that nurtures your soul. It is so important for a classically feminine woman to be connected with a higher purpose. We'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but you'll see a common theme is to serve a higher purpose bigger than yourself, and to not be swayed by circumstance. If you don't make space for rituals, or you don't set boundaries with your phone, you will constantly be in this react mode, especially in 2025. We get notifications left and right constantly, and we do not want to be in react mode. A classically feminine woman is in control of her day. She's intentional with what she does at a given time. I think it's really important in this very fast-paced world, or in a world where it's really easy to doom scroll and brain rot, to at least have one ritual that you know every single day that you've improved on. Okay, today I nurtured my soul spiritually and I feel more connected to God than ever. Or today I read a classic and I learned how to be more eloquent, and even in my words and in the formulation of my words, things like this. At least there's one habit that grounds you and that elevates you into this beautiful and classical feminine woman. The purpose, ladies, is to really invite stillness and order into your day. Yes, we are feminine women. We love play, but we also need rituals and order. We need organization to actually help us thrive even more in our feminine. And this leads me to my next point. A classically feminine woman moves with intention, and she is never in a rush. A classically feminine woman organizes her life so that she's not in this panic mode. If she knows that she needs to be somewhere at 9 a.m., she will get up earlier than usual to just ground herself, take her time. She takes care of her appearance. She takes time to do her makeup. She walks out of the door gracefully. When you're constantly rushing all the time, it does something to your nervous system where you're now constantly in panic mode, constantly anxious. And this is, I think, a problem that a lot of women face, especially as we now are in the corporate world. We're all working and we have all these jobs, and that is great, but we also forget to actually take care of our nervous system and to take things slow. We don't need to move like men. It has been said that women are more stressed than ever today, and I think part of that is because we're constantly rushing out the door. We have a million things to juggle. So ladies, really take your time. And how do you take your time? You organize your day effectively. This is something I highly recommend all of you ladies to do, is to plan your day the night before, to have intentions for the next day. So you know exactly when to shower, when to start your makeup, when to leave the house. All of these, take it into account when you're planning your day. It will save you so much panic, and you will be able to walk slowly, to move with intention. Monica Bellucci is a perfect example of this, and even old Hollywood icons that you see everywhere, they all take their time. They're not rushing to be anywhere. They're not chasing anything. They're simply in the moment, enjoying every single minute. That is a true slow living. It's not just about the aesthetics, about, again, the Pilates and everything. And I love Pilates, but it's not just about that. I think we've made slow living to be this movement of aesthetics. It's not. It's simply about being present, being organized, and to just be so focused and bring depth in your presence in every single thing that you do. Number 3, a classically feminine woman speaks with care and eloquence. Her words are deliberate, they're not careless.
Especially as I wanted to be a dancer. And as I have rather large feet, once I was up on toe, you can imagine I was a very tall dancer. So I had complexes about all of those things, you know, but I've had so much good fortune anyway that I've learned to live with myself, as they say.
This is something that I've paid more and more attention to, because speech, ladies, it says so much about your essence. It says so much about your education, about your state of being. Your words say a lot. And in the past, I've already talked about this, but I used to speak really, really fast because I wanted to take as little space as possible. But number 1, ladies, a classically feminine woman, she takes her time in her speech. She's deliberate in her speech. She's not the kind of woman to rush when she's speaking with someone. She really allows for her thoughts to come up. She thinks deliberately. When you're speaking at 2 times speed, you're not allowing space for your thoughts to come up. You're not allowing yourself to think critically or to think twice before you say things. And I think this is something that we see a lot in women media, especially reality show, women cursing at each other.
You're just do it no one wants you in the shoots. Okay, no. Get the out of here and go. Get the out of here.
Just all of this careless speech. And ladies, take your time. Take your time and allow yourself to actually think before you speak. There's this Bible verse that says, be quick to listen and slow to speak. This is so true. We're always trying to speak over each other. Part of eloquence is actually also listening. Ladies, when you're deliberate and slower in your speech, that's when people will actually start to lean in and be interested in what you have to say. And this is what Monica Bellucci does so well. She really has this calm presence and self-assuredness that makes other people lean in to hear what she has to say. As we're talking about speech, something that I've really tried to pay more attention to is, number 1, my cursing. I used to resort to a lot of cursing quickly. Every time I didn't know what to say, or if I didn't have the words, I would resort to cursing because it's an easy alternative. When you remove that, you will actually start training your brain to find alternatives rather than these easy curse words. Every classically feminine woman that you see on old Hollywood movies, they're so gentle with their words, they're so gentle with their speech. And I honestly appreciate this so much about these old Hollywood icons, and I think it's so rare today. It's like every single woman wants to be so vulgar, and I'm not trying to be anti-feminist, say like women have to be this picture perfect persona, 1950s housewife who's super obedient to everything. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's actually such beauty in being gentle, in being caring. It's not even just a woman thing, it's also a man thing. I think men are so much more attractive when they're gentle with their words. When I see my partner being so gentle with his words, I fall for him even more. That's actually one of the things that made me so attracted to him, is because he really had this respectful and eloquent speech, and it's so rare to find today. So it's not just a gender thing. I think every single person needs a little bit of decency today. Another thing that classically feminine women don't do is partake in gossip. She's not around friends who gossip. She is a woman who engages in high quality conversations, not gossip. Eloquence is actually a skill, ladies, so it's something that you can definitely learn with time. I've definitely had to work on my eloquence, and I think filming all these videos help. And I would recommend you ladies to film yourself and try to notice when you're saying filler words or when you're using like, this is something that I still struggle with. So actually filming yourself helps, but there's other ways, and it leads me to my next point, which is a classically feminine woman educates herself through timeless knowledge. I want you ladies to be so mindful of the content that you are consuming. A classically feminine woman doesn't just consume content, she educates herself. There's this thing called ear gaze and eye gaze. For me, this is something that totally changed my life. Knowing that the things that I consume, it actually shapes me as a person. Before I started embracing classical femininity, I used to listen to a lot of rap where women are described in such honestly disgusting ways. When I listen to these kinds of songs now where women are described only in their sexual value, or I don't even know how any woman can listen to, for example, Future, an artist that I actually really liked listening in the past, but I I had to stop because I found myself giving into that and wanting to display myself in a certain way that is lustful. And that is just a clear example of how the content that you consume from the music, the films, the books can really influence your reality. Once I started making that switch, okay, I'm not listening to this kind of profanity music. I'm not listening to music that describes women this way and that constantly uses curse words. And I made that switch to listening to more uplifting music, listening to more jazz. I always loved jazz, but now I only listen basically to jazz, classical music, worship music, and maybe some instrumental. But I really had to pay attention to the media that I was listening to. A classically feminine woman, she reads classics, she reads philosophy, she reads scripture, poetry, just works that really nourish her soul. And ladies, I might call some woman out right now, but if you're watching reality show every single night, maybe it's, I don't know, Love Island. I don't even know the reality show that are out today, or even Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I remember I used to watch that. Or you're constantly brain rotting on TikTok and Instagram, that is also going to inhibit you from actually embracing true classical femininity. Not even just classical femininity, but that is actually going to rot your brain. That is why we call this brain rot. It will rot your brain and your thinking and your critical thinking abilities. Ladies, your attention span today is so, so important. Instead of resorting to this kind of media, start watching old Hollywood classic movies, or I don't know, just anything that is more interesting than just TikTok. Something that is just more interesting than this shallow media. And a lot of people would say, oh, I learned so much on TikTok, I learned so much here, I learned so much there. But are you actually retaining the information that you learn? And also, the things that people sometimes teach on TikTok can be questionable because it is such a short form content. There's no nuance to anything. So I would recommend just please grab a book, please watch a meaningful movie, please consume meaningful content, and it will fundamentally change you. If you're having a hard time with this, I would recommend exploring other forms of media, like magazines, for example. I love magazines. There's so many good magazines out there. This is Women's Weekly Icon. It's actually based in Australia, I believe, but it's a magazine that actually highlights these old Hollywood icons. It's such a positive media form, so I highly recommend reading magazines. There's also another magazine that I love and I was featured in, and that is my name, Aurelia Becal. It's called The Swish Magazine. It's a modern magazine, and it talks all about classical femininity, so it's perfect for this theme. And the articles that you see here actually have a lot of substance, and honestly this is something that I probably struggled with because I've always loved magazines, but reading Vogue and Cosmo and all of that. I cannot do that anymore. It's very commercial, it's very shallow as well. So really pay attention to the content and the media that you consume, ladies. I love you, okay? This is not to shame you. I really just want you to start educating yourself deeply and to really embrace more substance, to invite more depth into your life so that you can live a life full of meaning rather than brain rotting in your couch. Number 5, a classically feminine woman serves others and lives for a higher purpose. This is especially important in today's self-care culture where it's all about me. What do I need? I like this, I need this, I desire this, I'm manifesting this. Me, everything me. But ladies, true femininity is not self-absorbed. It is outwardly generous. A classically feminine woman is so generous in her spirit. She's always giving. She's always serving other people around her, whether it's in her family, her siblings, her parents, or in her relationship. She tips generously. She helps the poor. She helps people who need it. Think of Audrey Hepburn. She spent the last years of her life serving people in UNICEF, really just giving a hand for people who actually need it. Or Angelina Jolie, these women who really embody true classical femininity, they're always serving other people. When you serve other people, something in you will literally shift. I remember being so self-absorbed in my college years, always caring about my comfort, my pleasures, what I need. And I felt the loneliest and most depressed that I've ever felt. And I'm not really a depressed person, but I felt so lonely during that time because I was constantly putting my focus in what I need and what I lack rather than actually removing that focus from myself and actually looking at the world and what they need and how I can help. And what I didn't realize is that the more that I give to people, the more I get poured into as well. And it's honestly such a blessing to do that. And I think this is only, especially when I came into the faith, that I started to really learn about serving other people more, because that is really important in my faith in Christianity, to serve people. Christ modeled that at its highest form. I don't know what you ladies believe in, but I truly believe that every single person, every single classically feminine woman needs to serve a higher purpose, needs to serve a God. Especially in this world with such conflicting values and weak morals, ladies, you need to ground yourself in a higher purpose, in a higher calling, in a divine calling. Seek a relationship with God because He will naturally put this light inside of you, and that is the only thing that you need to be magnetic, really. All right, my beautiful ladies, these are 5 habits that every classically feminine woman has. If you have more habits, please write them down in the comments. Let's inspire each other to become better mademoiselles. I love you guys so much, and I'll catch you guys in our next video. Bye.